Okay, as you can see, I brought the truck in just to clean it up, the outside, clean it up. I'm not sure whether I've told you in a previous shop update, pretty confusing with the transmission issue and stuff like that to remember what had been discussed and hadn't been discussed, but I have been having problems with my air shocks, or the system that fills the air shocks. I've got a Firestone. It's called a Firestone Ride-Rite system. So it's got a compressor tank and a module and a wireless remote control. And I can fill the air shocks, the airbags in the back, remotely off of that. Can raise and lower them or do whatever I need to do depending on the load. Well, I've had problems with that thing in the past. The module went on it and it wouldn't fill. They replaced the module, and that is in a shop update. But they replaced that module. Well, it started acting up again. So I got a hold of him, got a hold of Firestone, that is, and they had me run a bunch of tests. They wanted to know how it was tied in, where the circuits were, stuff like that, and they determined that it was the air compressor that was bad on it after I performed a bunch of tests. So today I got a new air compressor in from Firestone for it. So probably sometime this weekend I'm going to be putting that in. But I'll bring you back and let you know as I do it. Hey guys, welcome to another shop update. I'm going to vary here a little bit on the introduction to the shop update and just kind of tell you something, explain something to you. I have never been paid by YouTube. I don't have that many subscribers. I don't have that many hits on videos, so that I don't get paid. Up until about a month ago, there was a monetary amount, but it was like 18 cents. Really stupid. That I could have gotten paid. Now, I don't know whether that's 18 cents a day, 18 cents a week, 18 cents a month. I don't know what it was. Again, I've never been paid, so I don't know how their system even works. Let me just say this to you. I made some statements about some political people in New York State, and I think I've been chastised by YouTube. I don't know that for a fact, but I was watching somebody else, a YouTuber, and he kind of said the same thing. And he had also made some statements about his political views. Now, this is a free country. And if I say something, and by the way, I said something about the governor of New York State, and this was months ago, and it turned out to be very true. Some of the things that I was saying, actually more things that I was saying, turned out to be true. But this is a free country, and we should have the right to say whatever we want to say about anybody that we think we want to say it about. Now, unless it's not true. Yeah, I understand that you can't slander somebody or anything like that, or make untrue statements about somebody. But it was just my opinion about some things. And so, ironically, in the last month, I have had very few views on my videos that have been posted, and I am losing subscribers, never gaining subscribers. I didn't gain subscribers at a very big rate, but I am losing them now, not gaining any. So I think I've been chastised by YouTube, and I just kind of wanted to throw that out to you. I don't think it's right. I mean, YouTube, people in California kind of the big corporations express their views about political things, and it's all right for them to do that, but it's not all right for us to do it. And I think it's very unjust. So anyways, just my kind of plea to help me along here. If you could hit that subscribe button and try and share it with people, because apparently my videos aren't being posted up for views. Probably the people that subscribe to me or happen to type in what I have entered for tags on videos get to see my videos. So just help me out a little bit. Hit that like button, subscribe, share it. Tell some people about it if you think they'd be interested in it. But anyways, let's get back to it. As I kind of discussed in a previous clip, I got that replacement pump. That pump up there, Firestone pump for the airbags in the rear of the truck, is defective, or it went. First, this module went. That was probably about 6 months ago. Now the compressor went. So they sent me another compressor, and what I'm going to do is pull it off. There's just a shot of the new pump installed. So I put it in, installed it, everything is good. That wet spot that you see under there is I just checked the tubing for leaks and stuff, but it works fine. It works terrifically. Actually, it works better than I think it's ever worked before. But again, I just did it. Yeah. I'll bring you back when I've got other things. I'll bring you back and I'll let you also know if it continues to work. There's a bunch of things that I probably have to do. I want to keep you guys updated on the transmission, the temperatures and stuff like that. I'll keep you updated on this air pump for the Firestone airbags. Yeah, it's again been a kind of a continuous problem. When I first got this unit and put it in, probably for the first couple of months it worked fine, and then it started acting up. You would have to screw around with the remote for minutes. You know, I'm not going to exaggerate it, but let's just say for minutes before that you would get it to work. You would have to turn it on and off, and it didn't want to cycle through. I'm not going to say it didn't want to cycle through. It wouldn't register on the remote control what you wanted it to do. What it would do is, let's say that the air pressure was at 20 psi and you wanted to boost it up to 30 psi. And let me just take you through it, and I'll kind of show this to you. It's at 30 psi right now. But what would happen is, see, it's at 30 psi. If I want to reduce it, I get it flashing, and I just take it down to whatever I want to. Let's say 15 pounds. And I'll click on it, and you'll see the truck. You'll hear, maybe you can hear it, but it's reducing the air out of it. And now it's down to 15 pounds. I got to tell you, this is working better than it ever did. Now, if I wanted to boost it back up to 30 pounds, I double click or just click it, get it flashing. And let's take it up to, let's say 35. There it goes. What it probably did is boosted it up to 35 because there's that little tank under there. The tank isn't very big. I'm not gonna, the tank is probably 2 gallons maybe. And it probably took it out of there, but what it did is depleted the pressure out of the tank. So now the compressor's gonna run until the tank it gets up to working pressure, which I think is like 150 psi. Don't quote me on that because there's 2 different models, and I think I got the one that goes up to 150 psi. Even though the airbags that I have are recommended not taking them over 100 psi, I got the one that goes up to 150 in case I wanted to tie something else into it. And there, it's back up to pressure, and that's up. I'm gonna drop it back down now to 20 psi. I don't know whether you could hear that. You probably heard the clicking, but it was reducing the pressure, and it's down to 20 psi. I got to tell you, right now it's working better than it ever has worked. So I'm happy. Maybe it had something to do with the compressor all the time. So I just finished up with that, showing you that air compressor on the truck. And what I've got going here is I've got the other 2 brackets that I made for the Daimond C trailer to put the other 2 shock absorbers on. Here is the U-bolt brackets with the extensions for the shocks, and these are the pieces that are going up above. Now, if you recall from my other video on this, these pieces that go up above are different. These happen, the shock absorber tower is going to fall kind of in the center of 2 cross supports up above. So I left it, if you recall, on the other one, the nut was kind of like over here, and so it was close to one of the ribs, and what I did is came out a little farther and tapered it down just to kind of reduce the weight, and it wasn't needed. But this one kind of falls in the center, so I left it that way. I mean, I probably could take it out maybe like 4 inches on each side and then do that, but it's not needed. What the hell is it going to add? A couple of maybe, probably not even a pound if I did that. It really doesn't matter, and nobody's ever going to see it. It's underneath the trailer. But anyways, I did that yesterday. Today is the day before Easter, so I'm not going to, it's kind of cold out. It was like 25 out this morning, so it's kind of cold. Tomorrow is supposed to go up into the 50s. I know it's Easter, but probably going up into the 50s, and I'm probably going to come in and put them on tomorrow. So that the shock absorber thing hopefully will be done tomorrow. If I don't get it done tomorrow, I mean, I've got some family things that I've got to take care of, do in the morning, you know, egg hunt, stuff like that for great granddaughter, for Emma actually. But anyways, I will probably come over here afterwards and work on it. If I don't get it done tomorrow, then I can finish it up Monday. It's supposed to be a nice day again Monday too. So anyways, I'll bring you back. I had this 55-gallon drum laying around, so what I did was cut the bottom out of it. I needed a oil drain pan for the International. It holds a little over 10 gallons of oil, and I needed an oil drain pan. And you know, I've got the regular drain pans. I had drain pans for the Cummins, the Ram, but that only holds 3 gallons, and that drain pan wouldn't have held it. If you go out and look for these pans, large capacity pans, like at an auto parts store, they're absolutely fucking ridiculous. Sorry, absolutely ridiculous in the price of them. So I just, we have access to these plastic 55-gallon drums. I just cut the bottom out of it, cut it so that it had a couple of handles on it. Took some old pieces of radiator heater hosing and put on the bottom of it, because the plastic is kind of thin, and by the time that you get 10, 11 gallons of oil in that damn thing, it's going to be pretty heavy. But what I'll do with it is, once I drain it out, I can just bring it over to the oil, that drain thing for the lift, because it has air dump on it. So I can hook it up to air, and it uses air to pump the oil out. I put it in 5-gallon drums and give it to people that use waste oil for heating. What I did is I came in this morning and drilled the holes in both of these plates where it's going to bolt on to the cross members at the bottom of the trailer. I just threw a coat of paint on them. I've got to throw a coat of paint on the other side of them, and I'll be ready to put them on. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go fire up the International and bring it in here, get it ready to do some things on it. Right now I'm going to probably change the oil where I'm waiting for it to, when I throw the other coat of paint on this, while I'm waiting for them to dry before I can go out and start working on the trailer. But I'll bring it back. So I've got the International in the shop. What I'm doing is draining the oil out of it. It's got one of those drain valve things on the bottom of the oil pan. Well, it actually comes out the side of the oil pan. Hopefully you can see that. Those things are very convenient, very handy. Now on this one, the International, it comes out the lower part of the side of the oil pan. I was actually thinking about putting one on my Ram, but the problem is it adapts to the drain plug, and the drain plug comes out of the bottom of the pan, and if you stuck that valve on it, I'm afraid it would be sticking down too far, and there's a possibility if I ran over something in the road, a gator or you know what I mean, a tire that came off, or an animal or something like that, that it could shear that thing off, and I don't want that to happen. So that's my only hesitation on actually putting one on the Ram, because they are very convenient for draining the oil out of it. But I'm going to change oil, check transmission fluids, stuff like that. I'm probably going to end up changing the transmission fluid. The same thing with the rear end fluid too. But I've got to check it. Now I added some fluid to it when I replaced I'm talking about the rear end now. I added fluid to that one axle when I had to end up replacing the seal on the axle hub. I ended up putting more fluid in it, and the fluid in the rear end didn't look bad at all. But I'm going to double check it and just to make sure that I shouldn't need to replace it. So what I did is I backed the truck out of here. I had moved that tub over to the far side, backed the truck out of here, just made sure it didn't have any oil leaks on it. Then I brought the forklift over here because I knew that it would be like a two-man job to pick this thing up and dump it in there. I had to drain this thing out, but I kind of thought that I could just dump some in there, then drain it out at the same time. Well, it didn't really work that way. I spilled it kind of all over the place. You know, like the first time you do something, you kind of learn what your mistake is. So I drained this thing out, had drained probably a third of it out of this bucket, drained the thing out into 5-gallon pails, and then poured the rest of it in there afterwards. But it's still, because of that matting in there, to kind of keep the stuff out from going down into the bottom of it, you had to fill it up to the top, then stop and let it settle down into the tank, put the rest of it in, wait for it to settle down. But it's a chore. I've got to figure out a better way. I mean, if I don't have the forklift here sometime and I need to do it, I've got to figure out a way of getting it over there to be able to tip over and dump into that thing. I mean, it went into it all right. Again, I kind of messed up. I overfilled it, and it overflowed. Then I tried to dump it in, and I wasn't really getting it because I was standing behind it up on the forks of the forklift trying to tip it up. I really didn't see some of it was going onto the floor instead of into the drain bucket, into the drain container. So you live and learn. I'll figure it out. You know, I showed you that clip from yesterday where I kind of spilled that oil all over the place, or some of it was spilled, some of it was an overflow of that receiver on that oil, waste oil container. What I think I'm going to do is find a hose cock, hose valve, garden hose valve type of thing, drill a hole into the side of this and seal it. I can seal it with probably some O-rings or rubber washers of some kind, and just put it in there. It won't be at the bottom of it. It'll have to be up to the side of it so that it doesn't rub on the floor when this thing is sitting on the floor creating a leak. But I'll get it up farther, and that way I can elevate it like this. If the forklift isn't around, just elevate it something like this and drain it out with an old piece of hose. I might even be able to drain it right into the 5-gallon buckets themselves instead of having to go into that other oil, waste oil receiver. But anyways, I just thought I'd share that with you. What I'm over here doing is there was a bracket that held the stack to the side rail of the truck, and what happened is it actually tore the metal of the bed out in that one spot where the bracket was attached to it. So I had fixed this thing before, but it's torn it out more. So let me take you over and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So this is a bracket. What it did is it went down through into the side rail, and this leg stuck down, this dog leg stuck down, and then there was a bracket that attached it to the stack. So it ripped the metal out where this bolt went through on the side of the bed. So what I'm going to do is put this in behind it, screw it into the side of the bed. This will go through that, and the bracket will now attach to that. It isn't a great fix, but it's a fix. Without having to remove the stack and take everything off, and then pull that plastic bed liner up off of the top rail and fix that underside of it where the metal is torn out. This is kind of a short-term temporary fix. Ironically, the only black paint that I had left is engine and enamel, so it should help with the heat on that stack, because those stacks do get pretty warm, especially in the summertime. But anyways, I'll bring you back. Again, it's not the greatest fix, but it's in there. You know that what happens is that stack heats up that plastic and it melts it. But anyways, it's in there and it's solid again. Yeah. Okay, I'm out here putting the last 2 shocks on. I opened the last box. All the other shocks had been black with a yellow sticker on it for Monroe. This shock is yellow with no sticker on it. It's the same number though. Yeah, I'm sure it's the same number because it's imprinted on the shock absorber. 65409. But anyways, I just kind of thought that was ironic. Okay, here we are under the trailer and the shocks are all installed. Yeah. I'm going to I'll give you updates on whether I think it's make any difference or not on the Daimond C trailer. I'm not really sure what's going on. Again, as if I've made previous videos on this, and there's a video on the ride of the trailer truck as I'm towing it over a concrete highway with very bad expansion joints, and it creates this harmonic effect. And some people said that if I put shocks on it, it would dampen that effect or eliminate that effect. I'm not sure if that will be the case, but we'll find out. I'll bring you back and let you know what's going on. Okay, so here's the trailer. I just painted these deck plates. Those are the plates over the wheel wells, where they kind of cut it up so that the wheels had more clearance there. But anyways, this is a Daimond C trailer. I just, what I did is I torqued those bolts up here. And then I had never painted this. I painted this thing. But anyways, there it is. I've got to make a small run tomorrow. I'm probably not going to be able to get a good idea of if those shocks are working, because the delivery is only about 10 miles away from here. Pick up right down the street, rebar, bundles of rebar. Pick up right down the street, and delivery about 10 miles away. So there's no concrete roads with those expansion joints in there, but I'll let you know if I notice a difference with the shocks on, even though I'm not going to go over a bumpy road. If I notice any difference in the way the trailer behaves. Of course, there's always going to be bumps in roads, but I'll let you know if I notice any difference in the way the trailer behaves.